All right, everybody, welcome to the show this week. Midwest Mike's coming back at you with a fresh new episode. I'm Gary.
This is Austin.
And before we get started, I just want to thank all the listeners out there. Our show with Coach Hoover today passed our very first show as being the number one listened to Midwest Mike's episode of all time. So pretty proud of that. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's very cool. Really cool. I thought it was one of our best shows, too. I thought Coach Hoover was an awesome guest. So it's really cool to see that. And it's really cool that, you guys tuned in. And yeah, it was great. So thanks to everybody for listening to that show big time.
Yeah, so thanks. And, hey, if you like the show, share it with your friends. Let them know where to find it, on all the social media apps and everything. iTunes, the podcasts and Spotify and iHeartRadio, and pretty much anywhere you can get a podcast, you can find us. And if for some reason you ever have a problem finding us anywhere, we're under Midwest Mike's on Twitter and Facebook and Snapchat. Those are probably the three easiest to let us know, like, hey, I couldn't find it on Apple Podcasts, or I couldn't find it on Spotify. Let us know. We'll find out what the issue is, and we'll get it resolved.
Yep, for sure.
So, hey, thanks again to Coach Hoover. Great guest. So he said he'll do the show again sometime. So, we'll have him on again. And our Shawnee Mission East team is 2-1. We got Shawnee Mission Northwest coming up this week. Big game for us. They're 3-0. We're 2-1. Probably the first time since I've been at Shawnee Mission that they have the better record coming into this game.
Right.
So,
yep.
They're a little banged up. They had a rough game with Olathe South last week. A lot of people didn't think they'd beat Olathe South, but they pulled it out, and but did get a little banged up. So, we'll see what they can do this week. And I got a couple guys, or a guy that I know that was on our East staff that is now over there at Shawnee Mission Northwest, and so I wish them the best of luck, except for when they play us. I want to go win that game. So
yeah, for sure.
It's pretty exciting.
A testament to your guys' team. I was looking up records and stuff. Who'd you guys lose to the first week? Was it Gardner?
Gardner, yeah.
Yeah, you're 3-0.
Yeah, they're
and they're playing really well. Like, I was looking at their games, they're playing really well. So it's a tough team. It looks like that's a team that got over the hump because they had one game or whatever. And now they're pretty good. So
yeah, whatever.
You guys will take it, and I think you guys will win this week. So there you go.
Yeah, speaking of winning, Coach Hare does it again. I mean, no real shock. They won, I think it was 34-6 or something, against Shawnee Mission Northwest tonight. Not even a close game. Coach Hare just does it again. I mean, that guy just produces wins.
Yeah, he's probably the best freshman coach I've seen. I mean, besides you.
Yeah, no.
But man, I'll put you guys right there.
What's the quote? I mean, that guy wakes up in the morning and pisses excellence, right?
Yeah.
No, seriously, in all seriousness, man, Coach Hare and Coach Ufford and Coach Gordon and Coach Jerry and Coach Dre, those guys are all doing a great job with those freshmen, and I just hope they can keep it up, man. They, winning as freshman coach in the state of Kansas, I always say about Coach Hare, man, the guy just produces wins. So
pretty cool.
Congrats to them. Enjoy the win, and we'll get back at it tomorrow for those guys. And obviously varsity tomorrow is our walkthrough, and then we'll play Shawnee Mission Northwest on Friday. So while we're on high school football, Van Horn, our good friend of the show, Coach Harris, joined us last week for a few minutes. They did fall to center, which he knew it'd be a tough game, but they were only down 7-6 going into the fourth quarter. And I talked to him. His kids battled. They ended up losing 21-6, but his quarterback Sean scored the only touchdown. And actually, I think it won Play of the Week from like KNBC 9 News.
Oh, is that right? I'll have to check that
out. So hey, I mean, he's came a long way. He said that kind of be a test for him. And, I mean, you don't want to take a moral victory as a coach or anything like that. But, the fact that his kids battled and they played well, I think that just shows a testament to the job that him and his staff are doing at Van Horn, who was pretty much a perennial loser until he got there. So great job to those guys.
Yeah.
Congrats to Coach Harris, and they'll get a win this week, and then they play Winnetonka the following week. So that'll be another tough game for them.
Yeah, for sure. So, but it's good to see that program doing a lot better, especially with Coach Harris. So I think they'll bounce back. They'll be just fine.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we'll go ahead and mainly the topic of the show this week. Obviously we're always going to kind of hit those high school teams that Van Horn and Tri-Mission East, where I'm involved and Coach Harris is involved, and Coach Hoover's our head coach. Guys that have been on the show and are friends of the show. We'll always kind of hit those and cover those. And if there's any coaches out there that listen and you want to come on and talk about your team, just feel free to tweet at us or send us a message on Facebook. And hey, we'll have you on the show. You can come on and talk about how your team's doing and what you think your team needs to improve on or things like that. So just let us know. But getting into it, we decided to do our power rankings of the NFL through the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, and this might be something that we maybe do every week, because the nice thing about doing a weekly show is this is like pretty easy to do, right?
Yeah.
Because every week. So we'll go through, and you want to start? You want me to start?
I'll start. I'll start down at number 10. And work our way up. Build the suspense, right?
That's
what
right.
We're supposed
yeah.
to do.
Even though I would say this, I think everybody has the same number 1.
Yeah.
So we won't say it yet, but probably.
I'd say 90% of the stuff I saw today, kind of doing a little research.
Whatever.
Was,
all right.
You're all right,
number
so
10.
My number 10 is the Miami Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
They are 2-0, and you know me. I'm a big guy and beat who you play.
That's correct.
Okay? Beat who you play. Especially in the NFL, you don't make your schedule.
Right.
The schedule makers, some kind of formula they use to do that. But the Dolphins have beat the Tennessee Titans and the New York Jets. One of those is a division win, and we talked about it last week. Win your division first.
Right.
So they are 1-0 in their division.
And they're in first place in their division.
So, obviously I don't have them higher because, I don't think the Titans are that great of a team. The New York Football Jets, until they prove to me that they're winners,
so you're saying
I just can't buy in.
Not really penalizing them for having a soft schedule, but we're not going to give them anything extra.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
But they did beat who they play. They're 2-0. They deserve to be in my top 10 on how I'm going to base it.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Okay. My number 10, I have the Los Angeles Chargers, 1-1. Philip Rivers has played really well both weeks. They absolutely they played Bills last week, correct?
Yeah.
Bills? Okay,
That's their win.
They were supposed to beat the Bills.
They did.
They handled them, and they did what they were supposed to do. And then the Chargers played the Chiefs, when actually, really, Chargers actually played well in that game, good enough to keep it close for a while. Actually, good enough to keep it close for a while, and then the Chiefs kind of took over and whatever. But they actually maybe could have won that game if a few things go their way instead of going the Chiefs' way. But I would say is losing division game is whatever. But anyways, I still have a lot of faith in Philip Rivers. I don't know if I like them to win the division anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because their schedule is not as tough as the Chiefs' schedule is.
Chiefs got that first place schedule.
Chiefs got the first place schedule, which so far they've handled really well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go Chargers because I still really like Philip Rivers. Not a huge fan of the coach, but I do like Keenan Allen, do like the running back, Melvin Gordon, all that stuff. Defense is pretty decent. Bosa didn't play the first week, which might have made a difference on a young Patrick Mahomes. But I'll keep the Chargers at 10 for now.
Okay. And, obviously you can make an argument for that. My argument against them being in the top 10 is I just don't think the Bills is a good enough win to put them
up there?
To put them over some of these other teams.
Right.
But, obviously it's your opinion. And, hey, you guys obviously will say it again, but tweet at us, Facebook us, Snapchat us, let us know. What's your top 10? So my 10's Dolphins, yours is Chargers. Who's your 9?
My number 9 is the Philadelphia Eagles. I have them at number 9 because they are still Super Bowl champs. I felt like they've played well enough to win both of their games with a Nick Foles that's not playing very well. Carson Wentz comes back. Should be this week.
He is coming back this week, yeah.
And I think you're going to see.
I got him in fantasy, so I've been monitoring that pretty close.
And I think you're going to see a completely different team with Wentz. Defense still played really well, and the coaching's done well and everything. But I think Foles is I think what we saw in Foles during the Super Bowl, really just the Super Bowl, because the playoffs he was okay. Like in the playoffs before the Super Bowl he was okay. Super Bowl historical, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the top you're going to see of Foles. I think Foles will fall more to the backup.
And they beat Atlanta and lost to
Bucks,
Tampa Bay,
which is a super hot team.
Yeah.
So I'll give Eagles benefit of the doubt. Super Bowl champs. I got them at 9.
All right. My number 9 is another 2-0 team, Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
Who was not a team I definitely did not have ranked high before the season by any means. But, again, they're 2-0. They beat the Colts. Andrew Luck's back. So I consider that a quality win. And they also beat the Ravens.
Decent.
I think the Ravens are decent. Obviously, they trashed Buffalo week 1. I think Buffalo's probably going to end up being one of the worst teams this year.
I think so.
I don't know that that's really a quality win, but again, you got to beat who you play.
Yep.
They beat both of those teams. I just don't feel like I can put them higher, because they didn't beat 2 really good teams.
Yeah, and the thing is, mentioning Buffalo, off topic a little bit, but me and you I kind of thought the Jets might be the worst team in the NFL before the season started. They're not.
No.
Buffalo is for sure. And that's what happens. You take a playoff. You made the playoffs, and you basically downgrade at quarterback. And you don't even start the guy you drafted. You start the guy that threw 4 picks in a half of a game, or 4 or 5.
Yeah,
that's
something
it.
like that.
And it looks like morale is at an all-time low.
You got a dude that quit at halftime.
He's retired, right?
Yeah, he retired at halftime.
He's done, and he's actually a decent corner.
Yeah.
For that to happen, that's whatever. So I do like the Cincinnati Bengals. I like that too.
Yeah. So moving on, number 8. I went Green Bay Packers here. They're 1-0-1. They tied with Minnesota this last weekend. They beat Chicago. I think Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback currently in the league. He's not the best of all time or anything like that.
We agree on that.
But I mean, like, the best one currently playing. Like, Tom Brady's the GOAT. We did that quarterback episode previously. We said that, like, we think Tom Brady's the best, like, all-time body of work.
Yeah.
But I think right now, if I was going to take one quarterback to play one game tomorrow, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers of the current quarterbacks that are playing right now.
Correct. You know what? And my number 8 is also the Green Bay Packers. If they're 2-0, I actually have them a lot higher.
Yeah, me too.
A lot higher. They
were down 20-0 week 1, came back, Aaron Rodgers limping basically on one leg, and won the game.
I was talking about this with somebody I work with, but we're talking about the Packers salary cap. I wish I could. I want to look that up. I want to see who they're paying, because it doesn't make any sense to me why they can't get this dude a top receiver. Why they couldn't have traded for Josh Gordon, right?
Why couldn't they have traded?
Why couldn't they have traded for Khalil Mack? They have all their draft picks. You can't go. You have a dude that's is going to be in the Hall of Fame, right?
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers will be in the Hall of Fame, right? And you don't want to take the jump to trade for Khalil Mack. You don't want to take the jump to trade for a Josh Gordon. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
You put Khalil Mack on the Packers, all of a sudden maybe that defense does become a top 10. And we all know when the Packers had a top 10 defense, they won a Super Bowl, right? Because you have the best quarterback, current best quarterback.
Yeah, and I don't remember if we talked about it on the show last week or if it was just when we were talking, but Khalil Mack on the Bears immediately made them relevant.
Totally. The team's a lot better.
With one guy. So it's like, I obviously, if the Packers would have pulled that game out in Minnesota last weekend, I got them a lot higher, but right now I got them at 8.
And Bears won? No, lost. No, they won. They won. They won.
Bears are 1-1, yeah.
They're 1-1, right? If the Bears don't have Khalil Mack, they're possibly
0-2. I think no doubt they're 0-2.
So that defense, when they have that